Hello, good evening, and welcome to Saturday Sport Classified. Dave Moore in the chair for the next hour. Coming up, goals galore across all four of Manx Football's divisions today. Ben Cunningham will also be here looking back at the highlights of another great day's hockey in the Isle of Man. And also we'll be hearing from Dave Christian on the one local rugby match that took part today. Plus sad news in the past 24 hours. We'll pay a small tribute to Isle of Man resident Mike Trimby, who passed away yesterday. That'll be coming up later in the programme. And we'll also be hearing from the owner of OMG Racing. They run James Hilly in the Isle of Man TT the last 2 years. And Alan Gardner's battle against cancer. And how he's hoping to help other people who may not even know they have the disease. That's all coming up between now and 6. First of all, though, the classified check of today's scores, starting with the Canada Life Men's Premier League. And Ayr United 3, St John's United 2, Braddon 1, Morown 2, Corinthians 1, Peel 2, Laxey 5, Union Mills 4, St George's 3, Douglas Royal 4, and St Mary's 3, Russian United 3. DPS Limited Division 2, Castletown 2, Pulrose 0, Colby 5, Jims 1, Governors Athletic 3, Foxdale 4, Michael United 10, Ramsey Youth Centre Old Boys 0, Onken 6, Douglas and District 0. Canada Life Combination 1, Morown 3, Braddon 2, Peel 2, Corinthians 1, Russian 2, St Mary's 4. The game between St John's and Ayr United was postponed and awarded an away win. And Union Mills 3, Laxey 1. In DPS Limited Combination 2, we have Douglas and District 0, Onken 11, Douglas High School Old Boys 1, Douglas Athletic 0, Foxdale against Governors Athletic with no score for that one, Jims 6, Colby 5, and Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys 5, Michael United 4. So, I'm not sure whether the Foxdale game went ahead this afternoon. If it did, then we're still waiting for that one result, but well done to everyone else. Thanks very much, because it means we've got a show to talk about. And here to talk about the show with me in the studio is Tony Mepham. He's been at Corinthians game this afternoon, and he's also got a special guest with him as well. So, first of all, good evening, Tony. First of all, who have you brought in with us today?
Well, we're going to take a different story, to be honest with you, because, at the start of the season we were struggling for referees, and there's 6 new guys, senior guys who've come forward, and we've got one of them with us today, and that's Caelan Raby. So he's going to let us know the process of sort of starting, and then we go from there. Okay,
that's coming up later in the show. So first of all, though, we've got a lot of football to get through, Tony. Let's start with the one with the most goals, Laxey against Union Mills, a 9-goal thriller, edging the way of the western side, the northwestern side, Laxey.
Well, the way I heard the score going,
yeah,
and it was Union Mills that led at one stage. I think it was 3-2. But the goal scorers, I know Luke Booth got 3. I don't know who got the other one. But Laxey, 2 goals towards, mid-second half, I think it was, made the points safe for them. Jordan Cooper in good form today. He got 2. Tommy Kenny got 1. Ryan Gartland also got a goal. We're missing a goal scorer there, but I know Brodie Patience missed a penalty as well, which could have been even more fruitful for Laxey, but it's 2 out of 2, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And themselves and Peel maximum points, and certainly going well, but Union Mills pushed it all away, and at 3-2 were looking pretty good, but couldn't sustain it, and probably fitness a little bit with Laxey, and Laxey go through 5-4 winners.
The game you were at this afternoon was Corinthians. That's won 1, lost 1 for them, but as you said, 2 wins out of 2 for Peel in a tight game.
Was a tight game of two halves, to be honest with you, because I thought Peel, certainly in the first 45 minutes, had some really good chances. Adam Killier, the Corinthians goalkeeper, pulled off 2 or 3 really good saves, but he couldn't do much about it in the 28th minute. It was ball played through, Jake Robertshaw connected to it and put it past the keeper to make it 1-0, and then 3 minutes later, Lee Gale got the second one again from that left-hand side. Ball came to him, and I wouldn't say he hit it with sort of loads of power on it, but enough to direct it past the keeper, and 2-0 at half-time. And I thought that was a fair result because Corinthians defensively just didn't look right and didn't create too many chances up front. But second half, totally different, and substitutions helped a bit as well. Dan Simpson, he's back. He had a great game in that second 45, and it was Dan who got the goal about 10 minutes from the end to make it 2-1. He had another chance. Also, there was Joe Middleton had a couple of chances before he heads off to university next week, but it didn't happen. Peel get the 3 points, and I think Corinthians on the second half showing will be disappointed with that.
Breaking news: Foxdale 2, Governor Athletic 3.
Yeah,
so
that's
there we go.
So rarity. Well done.
We'll come to that. First of all, though, just very briefly as well, because I can give you a little bit more information on the Union Mills game, how tight it was. Sammy Gelling put Laxey ahead 1-0. Then Mills hit back to equalise with a penalty. Then they took the lead 2-1. Tommy Kenny then equalised for Laxey to make it 2-2, and then Mills went 3-2 up in the stroke of half time. Jordan Cooper levelled it again for Laxey at 3-3, and then he was the hero once more as he made it 4-3. So it gets swinging from one way to the other this game, and then Mills brought it back to 4-4, and the winner coming from Ryan Gartland. So that's how that one panned out between Laxey and Union Mills. And just very briefly, how Union Mills, you'd think maybe scrapping for every point this season, will they? Or are they going to be better than that?
Oh, they're better than that. Union Mills finished 4th last year, and I expect them to finish, top 4, top 6 this year.
Okay, good. Okay, also another good start too for St Mary's. A 3-3 draw against Russian United this afternoon. That's a win and a draw for St Mary's now.
Yeah, really good, and thanks for Anthony Dooley for keeping me posted throughout the afternoon how the game was going. And when you look at them, Russian were really struggling a little bit. Nathan Halsall, it was a free kick after 22 minutes and 22 yards out as well, so he struck that one really well, but Russia made it 1-1. I think it was Aaron Hawley who made it 1-1. Then suddenly Russia were 3-1 up. Christoph Lazidos got the second. Aaron got his second of the game to make it 3, but then St Mary's stepped up a gear. Chris Aspridge made it 3-2, and then the Silver Boot winner last season, Owen Canepa, got the third one to make it St Mary's 3, Russian 3.
Corinthians, they're now 4th in the table, but Ayr United, their first game, a 3-2 win, a tight encounter with St John's.
Yeah, it was, and it was a game of an injury, I think, that was talking about this. I don't know how bad it is, but the message I got was that Andrew Chadwick had got quite a nasty head injury, and whether he's in hospital or whatever, I'm not too sure, but smashed his head open. It was the way it was described, so whether it was a clash of heads or whatever, I don't know, but Ayr United, they're a good side, and when you look at sort of other players that are in there playing for them, then you think Ayr are going to be there or thereabouts. Haven't got Ayr's goal scorers, but Ayr were also down to 10. Actually, just thinking on, I think Chris Duggan
he got a hat-trick.
Might have got a hat-trick.
He did get a hat-trick.
Caught that at the end.
And also, I understand that they played over 50 minutes with 10 men. United.
Yeah, fair play to them. And haven't got St John's goal scorers.
No, I don't either. But Duggan got the penalty, was the first, and then Fisher got a red card for Ayr United, and at 1-1, Ayr United then went 2-1 ahead. Another penalty for Duggan, and then I just know it was 3-1. In fact, a hat-trick of penalties, I believe, for Duggan today. So that's a rarity.
It is.
Yeah, so and then St John's came back to 3-2, but they couldn't do any more with that. So, so 10 men. So Fisher was sent off. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then we got another great battle as well. St George's 3, Douglas Royal 4. And I'm going to say, are we going to see another struggling year for St George's?
Well, what score did you say there?
I got 3-4. St George's 3, Douglas Royal 4.
I've got St George's 4.
Oh, have you?
Douglas Royal 3.
Okay.
Hang on, let me just check the message from Johnny. Kieran McNulty got 3 goals today to go 399 Premier League goals.
Okay.
Richard Wynne with the other. Open game, excellent referee throughout. Geordies deserve the win. That's what it says.
Okay, I'm going off the FA's website.
Okay.
So let me just see if I can bring up the table, because the table has got St George's with a win. and Douglas Royal without a win. So I think it must be an input.
Yep.
Yeah, 4-3. So my apologies as well.
You're giving them a heart attack, Dave.
There you go, 4-3. But yeah, that was, as I say, it is on the FA's website, so I'm sure someone will be changing that round.
It's up to the clubs who put the scores in. It's not the FA.
All right, okay. Someone will be changing that round.
Yeah.
So do you have any details?
I don't on there. Only that is Kieran McNulty, 399 Premiership goals. That's incredible.
I don't have any
and
either.
Winnie got the fourth one. I haven't got Douglas Royal scorers.
Yeah. Rob Pritchard was at the other game in the Premier League today. A 2-1 win for Moran at Braddon.
Yeah, it was. And I know Daniel Kinraid, I think, got one for Braddon. I don't know who got Moran's goals, but one was a penalty. I think that won it. I'm not too sure who scored it, but I know Braddon had a penalty towards the end, Dave, and it was saved by, I think, Nick Collett saved it. He was in goals today. So, big 3 points out from Moran against Braddon.
Okay, we'll move on to DPS Limited Division 2 and the early leaders, and you would expect it really, having dropped down from the Premier Division, and they smashed Douglas and District for 6 today, and that's Onken.
Yeah, good performance. 8 goals last week, 6 today. New signing Sam Cubban against his old club got the first. Barry English got 1. George Butler got his name on the team sheet. Tom O'Neill, James Leeson, also Josh Kenyick. So a comfortable victory that for Onken, and it does look as if they're setting the pace.
Did Michael United get smashed last week?
Yes,
they did. But this time they were doing the smashing. Yeah, they put 10 past Ramsey Youth Centre Old Boys.
And let's just see if we've got the goal scorers. No, I haven't got goal scorers on that one. But what was the score?
10-0.
10-0. Okay.
So their first win of the season. I have got the goal scorers. 4 for Liam Kane.
Yep.
3 for Kieran Lane.
Yep.
And goals for Bailey Ashton, Chris Parker, and Jordan Cowan.
Okay. Thank you.
So there we go. So well done to Michael United after missing out last year on their promotion.
Yeah, it was, and real disappointment. And last week I didn't expect them to get beat like they did, but there's your main man, the first goal scorer there, 4 for Liam Kane. He's lethal in front of goal. You know, he didn't score last week, but certainly today put that to bed, and 4 goals for him. Well done.
5-1 for Colby at home to Jim's, 2-0 at half time.
Yeah, I haven't got any goal scorers in that.
Yeah, Carl Hickey got 2. Seb Spears with a goal, Sam Woodland with a goal and an own goal.
Okay.
And that's 2 wins out of 2 for Colby. So Colby with a first team, with 2 teams this season.
Yep.
So this is promising.
Yeah, they had 2 teams last year, and Colby have got some new signings. Some older players have come back in who sort of sat it out for a while, and they've got 1 or 2 others. Paul Whitley, 1, who's a good goal scorer. But Jim's is probably a game, to be fair, that Colby were expected to win this one. But good result for them in the end. And with Carl Hickey back in the squad and fit again, he's always going to score goals.
Also good start of the season with Castletown with a 2-0 home win over Pulrose United.
Yeah, and it was a tight game, this, because it was 0-0 at half-time. And it was Alex Crawley who scored from the penalty spot after 58 minutes to give Castletown the lead. Adam Lane got the second one on 89, and that was after Pulrose missed the penalty on 78 minutes. So disappointment there for Pulrose. They battled really well. But just some goal scorers coming in. And for St John's first team, the goals for St John's were Jamie Crook and Kieran Lease with 1 apiece.
And Governors Athletic, so close to victory this afternoon down at Colby. 3-2 with not long to go, and 2 late goals for Foxdale, giving the visitors a 4-3 win.
Yeah, and I haven't got any goal scorers, have you?
Not at the moment. No, I don't, unfortunately. But as I say, 2 late goals, and Governors Athletic trying to pick themselves back up again, and a bit of a kick in the teeth. You're 3-2 up with minutes to go, and then losing 2 late goals. Yeah,
it is, and disappointment. But the good thing about Governors is, I think this year, certainly they've got a new manager, and also they've got younger players who've come in, which will make them a little bit fitter. And certainly looking at the combination score today as well, if it's right, I've got here Foxdale losing 3-2 to Governors. So if you can text us through.
I've got some info now.
Go on.
It's 2 goals for Jason Chalmer.
Yep.
A goal for Jack Smith and a goal for Matty Moffat for Foxdale.
Okay.
Chalmer, a solo goal, beating a player down the line, played the ball across, and it came off the keeper and went in. So described as a clever finish. So that was on 77 minutes. So that was the winning goal for Foxdale against Governors today. I don't have any scorers for
Governors.
Governors?
No, I haven't either. No.
Oh, and the Colby's missing goal scorer. Oh, I've got that. We've not got there yet. So, right, let's move on to the combination one. We'll start with Union Mills with a 3-1 win at home over Laxey.
Haven't got Laxey's goal scorer, but for Union Mills, Kyle Uren got one. A new signing, Ed Canner, who signed from Russian. A couple of goals for him. He scored last week as well, so he's gone well. Good result for Millers.
And also a good result for Moran. A tight game between them and Braddon. 3-2 to Moran.
And that's all the information I've got. Have you got any scores?
No, I haven't at the moment,
okay.
Sorry. Then we move on to Peel with a 2-1 win at home to Corinthians.
Yeah, this is a tight game because when you look at Russian last week, only just beat Corinthians in the combination. And today, Peel are always about second or third. And certainly today it was Eka Akalangu who scored on 29 minutes, and then Harry Pack just before half time made it 2-0, but Corinthians got one back in the second half. 71 minutes, Connor Prescott to make it Peel 2, Corinthians 1, and very hot.
And a 4-2 win for St Mary's away at Russian, 1-1 at half time.
That's a cracking result that for St Mary's, because when you think of it, Russian last season went all season undefeated and won the cups as well. It was 2-2 at half time. For Russian it was Matty Lamb with 2 goals, one on 29, one on 36. I haven't got St Mary's 4 goal scorers.
Joe Canepa with 2, Tyree Thompson and Dylan Vick were the scorers for St Mary's.
Yep.
And unfortunately, St John's, I'm guessing, weren't able to field a combination side.
22 players, and I got an email from the club. They had 22 players missing today, just couldn't field a combination side. Social media can be cruel at times, and St John's just couldn't do it. They just didn't have enough players, so the game was postponed.
Okay, let's go on to combination 2, and Onken, their combination side going one better than the first team, putting 11 past Douglas and District.
Any scorers?
No scorers, but 11-0 for them. A tight game though between Old Boys and Douglas Athletic, just 1-0 for the home side.
Any scorer?
No. But what I have got are the goal scorers for Colby in their 6-5 defeat at Jim's. Jack Skillicorn with 2, 1 for Tim Mulligan, 1 for Matt Wilson, and 1 for Jakey and Ladd.
And thanks to Kevin Armstrong at Jim's as well. I've got Jim's goal scorers. Carl Peake got 3, Adam Johnson on the score sheet, Shane McCormick, and Mackenzie Corkle got the other one. So good 3 points out for Jim's 6-5.
And Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys with a 5-4 victory against Michael, 3-3 at half time.
Yeah, and I think I've got Michael's goal scorers.
That's good, because I've got Ramsey's.
Yes, as well, right. You mentioned Ramsey's.
Ross Crawford with a hat-trick for Ramsey, and Adam Bruhard and Adrian Skrabaker.
Scuba.
Is it? Scuba. Is it? Scuba. Right, okay.
Yeah, Chris Payton got 1. Nathan Farragher got a goal. Carl Moore and an own goal there. Michael's goal scorers. 9 goals. Cracking game to watch, but Youthy come out with the points once again.
And obviously we just got the score through for Governors Athletic, 3-2 against Foxdale, but I'm pretty sure you won't have...
I've got Foxdale's goal scorers.
There you go.
I've got Robbie Jack with 1 and Cal Wade from the penalty spot. And refereed really well. And I think Governors just won it on the 90th minute, but I haven't got their goal scorers.
So we got, I think, if I'm right, Union Mills and St Mary's are leading combination 1, and into combination 2, the early pace setters are Douglas High School Old Boys and Ramsey Youth Centre, along with Onken.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now then, we did say at the start of the show you had a special guest with us, and so it's Callum Raby. Calum Raby. So there you go. So first of all, Calum, what's your football background?
Played combination. Played most of my career combination. Paul Rose United, Onken.
Yep.
Won the league with Onken. Had a stint at St John's for a season.
Okay, bit of a journeyman then. I'd say in your 30s, are you?
36.
There you go. I'm getting this well. No, doesn't look it, but yeah.
Thank you.
So I mean, obviously there was an appeal went out for referees, and you answered it. Why did you do that?
Because it was free. It was free to do the course. Me and my brother Aaron Raby. There was 4 others on the course, and I spoke to Tommy Crow. Is it Tommy Crow?
Tommy, yeah.
And I messaged him and said how much it cost. He said it's free, so I jumped all over it.
And how I mean, how much of your time did it take?
It was only a day, Saturday 9 till 3:30. I played 5-side at 4 o'clock, so I was in time for that. So yeah, it wasn't too much.
And yeah, so I mean, but was it enjoyable? I mean, did you learn anything? Obviously, you're learning something, but did you really feel as if you'd learned something?
Yeah, it's nice to see from the referee's point of view, because obviously, I think when you play, everyone refs a game in their own little way when you're on the sideline, but to see it from their point of view, there's two different sides, and you think you know what you're doing until you get in there, and you know it's a totally different game when you're reffing, you know. So there's two sides to it.
So
nice to learn it all.
So you have reffed since you.
I have. Yeah, I've done 2 friendlies. I had really good feedback on them. I'd done my first game last week and my second game today. I've had really good feedback from them all, so and plus you get paid for it.
Yeah,
it pays for the Chinese on a Saturday night, doesn't it?
And did you think at any time before, you know, while you were playing, did you ever cross your mind about?
Never.
You know, yeah, exactly.
Never step over to the dark side. Never. But no, I'm enjoying it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't fault it in any way.
Fitness level, social level.
Yeah, staying in the game, keeping up with what's going on in the football world. Getting paid, like I said, and keeping your fitness going.
I have to ask you, do you feel because you've played, it helps that you know some of the players?
I can only judge that on because I've played. I don't know. Because I've played, it makes it easy for me to talk to the lads because I sort of know the people I'm dealing with. So I can only comment on my background sort of thing. I wouldn't be able to comment on someone who's come in and never played a game of football in their life. I don't know how they deal with it, but from my perspective, it is easy to talk to the lads. And I work on a building trade, so I'm used to people whinging at me. I can put up with it, and plus I'm married, I get whinged at on a daily basis, so it's a walk in the park for me.
So you can see this is going to continue then?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. No faults up to now, so yeah, see how it goes.
We won't talk about any individual specific moments, but I mean, what's been the hardest bit in the games?
Offsides. Oh my God, yeah, the offsides. If you blow for offside,
I'll just interrupt you because I'm guessing you don't have any assistants on the sides doing. So it is totally down to you.
On my own. And the way I explain it to both teams before the game. VAR and the English Premier League, they mess it up weekly, and if they can mess it up, they've got the replays over and over again. They've got the match officials, pitch side. They've got the fourth official, and if they can mess it up, imagine what I'm going to do on my own. So I explain that to both sides before the game. But yeah, offsides. It's if you blow, you get whinged at. If you don't blow, you get whinged at. So
okay, it's interesting you say that. Is that is that something that you do, or is it something I never, when we played, Tony, I never remember a referee coming in and talking to the lads before a game. He just went out and the ref was there. You know, I mean, is this an FA initiative, or is this something that Calum, as you know, that you're happy doing?
From when I played, your referee used to come up and check for your studs and stuff like that. But I just basically introduce myself, tell them that I'm new and what I'm doing, and basically if I blow, don't argue with me because I'm doing it as I see it. So getting on my back and getting on my case, it's just going to delay the restart and stuff like that. So just get on with it, basically. I think you earn a little bit of respect when you do that and you have a conversation with the lads beforehand, and that's what you want. You want a bit of respect off the lads. Yeah. It's nice to be liked as a referee rather than the most hated man on the pitch.
So anyone listening to this, that wants to be involved in the game a little bit more, and maybe like you, as had their best days are behind them on the field as a player, what would your message be?
Yeah, definitely. With shorter referees, the game doesn't go ahead without them. So, I mean, I think it was at a point where maybe you would have had to call games off this season. Nobody wants that. Everyone enjoys the Saturday football, so no referees, you can't play. So if anyone's thinking of doing it, get on board, do it. And the course is free. The FA do it for nothing, so feel free. And you get free sweets and a free whistle.
Yeah, just a comment you made there, Dave, and I totally agree with Calum. I got shot down. My attitude is when we played but I always remember Bobby Simon come in and say, listen lads, I'm going to give what I see. It's an honest decision. It's an honest view I've taken. And he'd explain it before kick-off, and they're not keen to do that now, which I don't know why. As where Calum, I think it's important that he's going up to players and just saying, listen, here it is. I'm a new referee. I've come into the game. I've got to learn somewhere. He's not on his own. So anyone out there thinking, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm thrown in the deep end. He's got a mentor with him right the way through. I think the first 6 games has mentors with him. But the important thing is to referee it with your own personality, because some people are really strict and other people are a little jovial and a little bit more lenient. But I totally agree with him. I think it's important at the start of the game to explain the situation. I'm going to give what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree, Dave.
Oh, completely.
It's a big one for me.
Completely. Oh, I think that's absolutely. Yeah, can make that connection with the players already and explain. Because at the end of the day, all we want to do is have a game of football.
It is.
That's it. Yeah.
It is, and we want officials to come in. And Calum's at the right age band. He's played the game, so he understands the rules already. So he's hit the ground running. He's a good age, so no injuries. Hopefully, he'll come through. And the thing is, I know Calum because I've worked with him, but he's got a little buzz, which is what we want to hear. So I would say that anyone who's thinking about it, speak to Aaron, speak to Caleb, speak to the others who've taken it on board, because one of the staff here at Manx Radio's husband, I think, or fiance, has taken it on, is talk to them and find out the pitfalls, learn from their mistakes, because Caleb will be making mistakes in the game and think to himself, well, I won't make that another one.
Okay.
And fair play to him, fair play.
Okay, so just get some messages in as well. Well done to Caleb, etc. Very impressed so far, so well done. We'll have to move on, Tony, but how does anyone become a referee in the Isle of Man? And just before we do that, something that you said that just crossed my mind, and it would be great to do that, but when you said you did the course of the day, would it be somehow that we could get the players that are currently playing to go and do that course, and they get a taste of what it's like to be a referee? Do you think that might help the game?
They've got to want to do it, Dave.
But but I'm saying, they've got to. But I mean, but given that opportunity to go and have a look, and or even if you had a situation where a player has totted up 5 yellow cards or whatever, and part of their punishment, is going to attend that for the day.
Yeah, it's whether they turn up. That's the thing.
But I mean, that maybe they could have a yellow card rescinded or something. I don't know how much of the rules you could play with on that, but just something like that. Do you think that would work, Caleb?
I'll let you look into that. I don't want to go down that road.
But do you think someone, if as a player, if you'd been a player, and then gone and done something like that, do you think it might? Then your attitude might have changed the next time that you played a game?
I say if someone was on a lengthy ban, say a 3-match ban, you could reduce that by doing a course, then it's something that could be looked at by all means, go down that road. I wouldn't like to comment on that.
But do you think that it would certainly,
could do. It's an eye-opener for me as I've done it, so it could be an eye-opener for someone else.
Okay, great.
Can I just give a shout out to the wife and kids?
Yes,
Ashley, Kaysen and Annalia, they're all at home. I'll be the superstar of the house tonight.
Okay, I'm not going to play you a song though.
Thank you.
So, Tony, anyone, as I said, how do they become an Isle of Man FA referee?
Just get in touch with the Isle of Man FA and they'll direct you. Paul Hodgkinson's the development officer. You've got Kevin Maitland there, who's got bags of experience. Tommy Crow is absolutely huge. And I know Caleb spoke so highly about them. They guide them. And just going back to players who were not feisty, but hot when they played, was like, you look at Rob Slinger, you look at Andy Glover, 2 excellent players, very committed in the game, turned out to be 2 excellent officials. That's what you're after. Rob Slinger's just flying up the ladder. He's going absolute great guns. He loves it.
Okay. We've got loads to catch up on. We've still got hockey to come, and hopefully we'll go down to FC Isle of Man briefly if we can to get the latest team news.
Manx Radio Sport.
But we've got a rugby match somewhere today. Dave Christian, are you there?
Yes, I am, Dave. Welcome to a sunny southwest of France. I've seen Ireland play Romania, but that's not what we're here to talk about tonight, at least. Regional Northwest 2, Douglas, lost 8-6 at home last week against Furwood Waterloo. Hoping to go one better this week, especially with Kirby Lonsdale in seemingly a bit of a free fall. They'd played 22 last season, 1-0, and conceded an average of 73 points a game. Well, it looks like Kirby Lonsdale's free fall has finally stabilised. They beat Douglas 19-13 this afternoon. Douglas pick up a losing bonus point from the game, which isn't quite what they wanted. They got a losing bonus point last week too. And it was Kyle Martin who went over for the try for Douglas, their first try of the season. Rest of the points, conversion and 2 penalties came from the boot of Luke Hyland. I've not had a chance to peruse the other results, so I can't quite see how that affects Douglas at the bottom end of Regional Northwest 2, but I must emphasise it is very, very early days in the competition. There's a long way to go in this, and 2 losing bonus points is not the ideal start, but it's better than nothing, which conceivably could easily have gone if Waterloo had scored a try last week, or if Kirby Lonsdale had got another 3 points this afternoon. So disappointment for Douglas. Domestically, there was one game on Ireland. It was a friendly at Ballakillia Park in Port Erin. Southern Nomads and the Isle of Man Barbarians, sort of a best of the rest setup. They played Ramsey this afternoon, and Nomads come out on top there, 41 points to 24. The result doesn't really mean much, but it's great preparation for Nomads. They have the Cheshire Plate coming up later in the season. In fact, I think it's the first weekend in October, so good preparation for them. And of course for Ramsey too, who also have a Cheshire Plate game against Marple, I think it is, on the 7th of October. No scorer news for Ramsey, but I can tell you for Nomads, in the tries there was Ed Alderson, Sammy Ben-Batul, Rob Crane, Sean Christian. There was a couple of others in there as well. Mark Young kicking the conversions for Nomads. So the results today, disappointment for Douglas, Kirby Lonsdale 19, Douglas 13. And in the one friendly played on Ireland, it was Southern Nomads 41, Ramsey 24.
Thank you, Dave Christian, reporting from France. I wonder what he's doing down there. But I know one man who's in a stadium as well, waiting to give us some team news, and hopefully ahead of tonight's game between FC Isle of Man and, in fact, are you there, Rob Pritchard? I don't think he is. He said he would be, but he's not. So what we'll do is we'll move on and we'll say good afternoon to Ben Cunningham. Ben, yes... a busy day's hockey here in the Isle of Man.
Yeah, very warm day of hockey, let's put it that way. Yeah, very warm, but credit's where it's due to everyone for, let's say, standing up to the weather conditions.
Okay, let's crack on with the results, starting with Rossborough Mixed Premier League. Vikings against Backers B, a 6-3 win for Vikings.
Yeah, just to start, Vikings A wanted 2 goals for Kim Carney, 2 goals for Tom Burrows, Darryl Jago with a goal, and Danny Coombs with a goal for Vikings A. And then for Backers B, it was Doug Quayle, Luca Parto, and Carl Moore.
And Valkyries beat Castletown Celts 1-0.
Yeah, very close game this. I did think that Castletown might have edged it, but Imogen Manning from Valkyries got the goal that sealed the win for Valkyries.
The game between Harlequins and Backers.
Yep, I've got that score here. It was 9-1 to Backers A. Credit to Harlequins, their first game in the Premier League, and they kept the score below double figures, so credit where it's due. Elliot Reid with 1, Andy Whiting with 3, Jamie Brown with 2, Luca Parto with 3, and then Harlequins' consolation was from George Ratcliffe.
And Ramsey against Vikings B up in the north of the island at the same time.
Ramsey 2, Vikings B 3.
Oof.
Yes,
Wow.
very, very close game. When me and Rob previewed this, we said this was going to be close, and it was. Vic Gardner and Nat Smith for Ramsey A, and for Vikings B, it was Josh Dougal, Morven Smith, and John Cooper.
Okay, before we move on to Mixed Division 1, just to mention that Tony said as well with the football there, football's going to lose some players to university next week. How's hockey going to cope?
Very much the same. There's a lot of players that have played their last games today before they head off to uni or head back to uni. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see them back at some point, probably near Christmas. But, yeah. A few teams will be saying goodbye to
any standouts that we're going to be missing? Top of your head. I know I'm putting you on the spot here, Ben. Sorry about that.
Oh, there's a few.
There's no one that's obviously slapping you across the face.
There's a few from all different clubs. But
okay, all right.
So.
Okay, let's move on to Rossborough Mixed Division 1 then, and Valkyries B with a 4-0 win against Castletown, Carmags down and King Williams.
Valkyries B got the start they definitely wanted. Steve Cottier, Chris Cadwell, Ethan Adams, and Andrea Littlejohn, all with goals each.
And then we got Backers C against Vikings C.
3-1 to Backers C. Rebecca Kelly with a consolation for Vikings C. And then for Backers, it was Matt Greenbank, Craig Leese, and Charlie Rimmers.
Okay. On to Rossborough Mixed Division 2, Castletown Cushags against Ramsey Ravens. A 2-1 victory for the Southerners against the Northerners.
Yep, I umpired this game. It was a really close game. Only 1-0 at half-time to Castletown, so it was a really close game for the first game of the season and in the heat. Castletown was warm today, and we know Castletown normally for torrential rain and that. So Bree Collister and Paul Bolt for Castletown, and it was Becky Weimer for Ramsey. There was one game in Division 1 which was called off today. That's now due to be played on Wednesday. Castletown Southerners against Valkyries C. That game was called off because the wedding of Sophie Van Hooven. So many congratulations to them.
Right, okay. Then we've got Vikings D with 7-3 victory over Bacchus Colts.
Yeah, Bacchus Colts promoted from Division 3 up to this league, and they've had a very nasty start to the season against Vikings D. Ash Osborne with 2, Joe Rooney with 2, Ian Perry with 2, and Ben Dougal with a goal. And then for Bacchus Colts, it was George Leese with 2 and Ollie Christian.
And then the game between Valkyries D and Vikings E.
Vikings E 2, Valkyries D 3.
Oof, another close one.
Yep, another close one. We said this was going to be close again. Bruce Gimbert with 2 and Mike Vowles with 1 for Valkyries. And then Clive Heskey and Blake Haim for Vikings E.
Then we go to Rossborough Mixed Division 3. Ramsey Rookies taking on Castletown Carrick.
And the Northerners have beaten the Southerners.
Oh, this time, okay.
4-0 to Ramsey Rookies. Dan Stevens with 3 and Valentino Crossgrave with 1.
Then we go to Bacchus D against Castletown Cosney.
2-2. Dan Neal on his return from Singapore, I believe the message said. So welcome back. And Christian Davies. And then for Castletown, it was Eden Cannell and Harry Brammer.
And then we move on to Harlequins B against Harlequins C.
9-0 to the B team. Corey Corkill with 6 goals. So very well done there. David Cowan, he's normally a defender, but somehow he ended up in the D and managed to grab a goal. So credit where it's due there. A name you'll probably recognise, Dave. Kerry Leanne.
All right, okay.
Goal for her today. And then Sam Cunningham. Yep, I'm gonna have a few digs when I get home.
Good. Then we move on to the Harlequins B against C clash.
I think we've just done that one.
Oh, sorry. The Harlequins against Vikings. 6-0 for Harlequins.
6-0 Harlequins. Yeah. Ruby Crellin on her first under-15s league debut with 2 goals. Tallulah Wilson again on her debut with a goal, and Caleb Blakemore with 2.
And then we have Ramsey Rogues and Rascals against Valkyries.
7-1 to Valkyries. I haven't got Ramsey's goal scorer, or have I? No, I haven't got Ramsey Rogues and Rascals goal scorer. But for Valkyries, it was Chloe Thomas, Amber Buchanan with 2, Ryan Thomas, Poppy Hughes, and Harry Lewis.
Okay, so a great roundup because, of course, it's the mixed league and then the men's and leagues is after Christmas.
Yep, that'll be after Christmas.
That's it. So, but everything in the world of local hockey is looking good.
Yep, all looking good. I think we'll all be glad to have got the first game out of the way for today, especially like saying the conditions.
Yeah.
I think a few people will be hoping next week is a bit cooler, maybe a bit of rain. We'll see.
And how's the Isle of Man looking on away from the island? You know, with the teams that with the various levels. I mean, what's in line for this winter into next year?
So the island teams are all scheduled, and they're going to be going ahead again this year.
Great.
We had fantastic success with the juniors, and we had a good success with the seniors as well. We're just waiting to hear the draw, but we had teams go across last week to get a play against Barrow in a pre-season friendly, and there was really good reports that came out of that. This weekend we've had, I think it's North Staffordshire are over. They're playing a few friendlies as well. It's great to see teams coming over, though, to our facilities instead of us having to look at travelling over.
I mean, and in terms of hockey facilities, I mean, I think the Isle of Man have, be quite proud with what the pitches and the conditions and everything that we can provide.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Barrow last week were commenting on how good things were. So let's hope that North Staffordshire do the same this week.
Okay. And what have we got to look forward to next week?
We've got a full round of fixtures again next week.
But it's early in the season, of course, so, yeah. And the other question I've been wanting to ask you, Ben, as well, is what about those players who've made the step up this season? Have any come through? I mean, because the number of times I've watched the youngsters play, and I've been so impressed with a lot of the young guys and girls that play hockey. Anyone that's stepping up into the seniors this year?
Yeah, absolutely. There's loads of younger players that have been away at the academies. One player that I know from
Yep.
my club is Ella Blakemore,
Mm-hmm.
and she's been selected to play for the England team across
Wow.
as well.
The-
So that's a massive achievement.
The
from
next Sienna Dunn, perhaps? Early days, of course. But
early days, but I don't want to say no.
no,
but
exactly. But yeah,
exactly.
but again,
Yeah.
promising. So, but
Definitely.
but a one to watch certainly, and I'm sure
Oh
we'll
yeah,
be
there's
hearing
plenty of them out there.
a
But
lot
like I
more of-
say,
yeah.
Ella Blakemore is from our club, and that's one name I'll always remember.
Okay, thanks for your time, Ben,
No worries.
and we'll speak to you again soon.
Manx Radio Sport.
Now, before I continue, we had some really sad news yesterday about the sad death of Mike Trimby, who's lived in the Isle of Man for more than 20 years. In fact, his first dalliance with the Isle of Man, he raced in the Manx Grand Prix in the early 1970s and then on to the Isle of Man TT. But by the time he'd made the Isle of Man his home, he'd become involved, or he'd helped form IRTA, which is part of what was then the 500cc World Motorcycle Championship. Really, Mike Trimby played such a pivotal part in improving conditions for riders in the championship and also making tracks safer, etc., for them to compete on. But all the while he was doing this, he was at first travelling backwards and forwards to the Isle of Man, first to his home in Laxey, and then I think it was up in Sulby in recent years. But he passed away the other day. I think sometimes some people don't realise how big a name Mike Trimby was. By the early 90s, television was becoming such an important medium, particularly as the audience potential was huge and sponsorship money vital to teams' finances, etc. And the governing bodies then, such as the FIA for cars and FIM for bikes, you could say they were slow to recognise the potential, and they were just happy to take the money for rights. And then IRTA and then ROPA, R-O-P-A, the circuit owners body, bought them. They bought the rights, but they still had to be sold. And then along came someone that a lot of people have heard of, and he's called Bernie Eccleston. And he'd by that time acquired the rights to buy Formula One from the FIA. The FIM and its Road Racing Commission was still controlling Grand Prix, including when and where events were, and the prize money. And I know riders they say how they had to queue up collect their money at the end of the meeting. It's incredible when you think back. But Mike Trimby played such a huge part at the time, along with Bernie Eccleston as well, who had been courting IRTA, and he suggested they break away and run their own championship. And we all remember, well, some of us of a certain age will remember the Kenny Roberts and the Circus, etc., or the alternative championship. Anyway, just to try and break this down very quickly, it was Trimby and then Paul Butler, who also now lives in the Isle of Man. He was then the Yamaha team boss. They rewrote a new rule book, aided by Max Mosley, who you remember as well. And anyway, basically, they got together. Eccleston sold the commercial rights to Dorna for £50 million, blah, blah, blah. Everyone was happy, especially Bernie Eccleston. But anyway, Mike Trimby, I say that's just such a small part. There's so many people in the Isle of Man can tell a story about Mike Trimby, who carried on working along with his wife Irene as well, who is very much in our thoughts this weekend after the sad news of what happened to Mike yesterday. We're going to move on. We've still got live coverage from FC Isle of Man still to come, but before we do, for Alan Gardner, we're going to stay with motorbikes because for Alan Gardner, life couldn't have been better. The UK-based Englishman owns OMG Racing, and through their rider Brad Ray won the British Superbike title, while James Hillier brought them top 6 successes at the TT during the past 2 years. However, a few weeks ago he had some life-changing news. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Now he's trying to get the message across to other men to get themselves tested.
Manx Radio Sport.
Well, I'm going to say something first, Dave, and say it's not shocking news because it's so common that it's ridiculous. And that's the point I'm trying to get across to other people, is that 1 in 8 men of all ages are going to have prostate cancer. That's of all ages. As you hit 40, 50 and above, the odds of you having it increase sort of exponentially, really. I went for a medical check only a few weeks ago now. Had what can only be referred to, it's called a digital rectal exam, and you find a problem. And from there you have further tests and blah, 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 until you identify exactly what the problem is. And it's got that word cancer to it, which everybody's scared to death of, and probably quite rightly so. But if you catch prostate cancer in its early stages, which thankfully I have, then it can be cured, not even helped or assisted or treated. It can be cured. So we've got to stop worrying about this word cancer quite so much in this instance, I think, although it can be really, really bad. And it's really, really bad when men don't get themselves tested. And that's what I'm trying to get men to do is encouraging, we all know what it is. Nobody likes the thought of it, but go and have a test. Just make sure you're okay.
Why did you go? Was it a routine checkup or was it something that was a spur-of-the-moment decision?
Well, to be honest, I'd had some symptoms, and I mean, I'll happily go through my symptoms, but in a way, I don't want to, because what I don't want is somebody thinking, oh, well, I haven't got that, so I'm okay. Because the biggest thing with this is that you can have no symptoms whatsoever and still have cancerous cells growing in your prostate. So you can have nothing, you can think nothing's wrong. So you need to be getting checked when you're above 40, regardless. But I did go for some symptoms, and I should have gone long ago. I had a friend of mine a number of years ago had prostate cancer really, really badly, to the point where it has affected his life quite greatly since. And even knowing that, I never went for a test. That's how useless men are. We're the worst in the world. Anybody that will listen to this is, and women, badger your men in your life, whether your husband, your brother, your whatever. Go and get tested because we are useless. But yes, I did have some symptoms, and I put them down to, as I think, I'm 55, and we go, oh, well, I'm going to the loo a bit more because I'm old now. I'm getting older. We all know these things happen. It's not the case. It's not the case. You're going because you've got a problem. There's something, your body's not meant to do that. It hasn't done it before. Why is it doing it now? But you don't need a symptom.
In terms of, though, getting that news, the confirmation, I mean, how do you cope with that?
I think I've done all right, actually. I think probably what I'm doing as a coping mechanism is screaming and shouting about it. And please, nobody ever think that it's for sympathy or anything like that, because it's really, really not. I'm fine. But what I want to do, what I'm sort of busying myself with, is telling men to go and get themselves tested, because through being fortunate enough to have OMG Racing that I can put it out on there, and friends that have large podcasts like Dom Herbertson with Chasing the Racing, we can put it out there. And now yourself, Dave, calling me saying, can we get it out on here? The further and wider we can spread this, I'm getting messages from people saying, I'm getting tested now, I'm getting lots of messages from people that have prostate cancer that haven't spoken to anybody, that even they're not telling people to go and get tested. I'm like, well, this is wrong. It's the most normal thing in the world for a woman to go to the doctor to have tests in that area of your body, shall we say. And I think men run away scared like little girls because we're useless and we're weak, and we shouldn't be. It's just a medical exam. Go and make sure you're okay.
And so now, what kind of treatment are you having to go through?
At the moment, they've put me on what they're calling active monitoring. So I've had MRI scans that have determined exactly what I've got and where. But that's the only single snapshot that we have of it at the moment. So what I'm doing is between 1 and 3 months, depending what happens, I'm going to have further scans and blood tests and so forth to see whether it's changing. Prostate cancer is a very, very slow growing cancer ordinarily. Doesn't mean it always is, but it usually is very slow growing. We know where it is now. I'm in stage 1, early stage 2. So it's easily treatable, imminently treatable. So I don't know if that's the right word. But because it's normally so slow growing, it needs sorting, and it will be sorted. But what we're monitoring at the moment is there any change? Can we work out how long I've had it for by the rate of growth on it now? Is there anything new growing and so forth before we actually attack it? There are lots of things available depending what stage people are at. You can have, I know there are injections apparently available. That hasn't been discussed with me. There's radiation therapy you can have. There's proton beam therapy you can have, which is radiation therapy again, but really, really targeted, so there are no side effects with it. But if you're really far gone, some people have to have the prostate removed, and that for a man is really, really bad, which is why we all need to, if we have an issue, and it's very, very common, we need to find it early, because when you find it early, you don't have to have your prostate removed, and that doesn't affect you in other parts of your life.
You're still carrying on, though, working full-time, and you've got OMG Racing. You're chasing the British Championship, of course, in Superbike, and we all know you here in the Isle of Man the last 2 years in the Isle of Man TT.
You've got to carry on work. I mean, life goes on regardless. I'm well, fingers crossed, touching wood, my desk at the moment. I don't think I'm dying. So, life has to carry on. We have to earn our pennies and we have to pay our bills, don't we? That's the same for everybody. BSB is going really well. We're currently second in the constructors or team title and third rider championship at the moment. We've got 3 rounds, 9 races left. We're about 50 points adrift for Kyle. So it's doable. Mm-hmm. We TT wise, looking forward to getting there again next year. Not sure how that will be. I've got to make some changes because of some things we're doing in BSB. Mm-hmm. But I absolutely want to be there. I love the TT. It's fantastic.
You've been 2 times now, I believe, both with James Hillier.
Yes.
And what is it about the Isle of Man TT that you enjoy?
I was brought up on the TT. I was in the TT was since I was a kid, single digits age. And just because it was so, and still is, so exciting, so, to watch in whatever format you could see it, and to get across there and the speed and the spectacle of it, it's an unreal race. Thank everything you need to thank that it still continues and that people haven't managed to stop it, because I just love it. And that's what got me into two-wheeled motorsport in the first place. The only unfortunate thing with the TT is it's just a couple of weeks of the year. There's not enough. We need more. so then you have to look at, short circuits is a lot longer season. So, we get involved in short circuit, and I long for the TT to come round. And it's my birthday in the middle of TT week. So it was when I was a kid, it was always like a birthday present, the TT's on.
Your team, OMG, obviously the current British Superbike champions, what happened last year with Brad Ray. And I can't let you go without mentioning someone else who was in charge, who knows what it takes to run a BSB winning team. That's Paul Bird. That was shocking news a week ago.
Dreadful news. Paul was only a year older than me, which again brings your mortality. It highlights your mortality. You start thinking about, things. It's such an awful loss to the sport. He's the most successful BSB team, because he was the team, he's the team. The most successful BSB team ever, more titles than anybody else, and such a passion and desire to race. Nothing, got to win, which is what we all do. But Paul sort of, was the absolute epitome of that, and he's going to be an enormous loss to the sport on a global scale, I think, and obviously in particular to BSB, and I'm not sure that hole will ever be filled.
I was going to say, we know how successful he was, but he could also be ruthless, couldn't he?
Well, to be successful, you quite often have to be ruthless. If what you're pursuing is success and so forth, then sometimes you're not always nice. But that's life. That's just the same in any business, in anything you do. You have to be ruthless at times. You can do it in a nice way, but you still have to be ruthless.
Alan, we have to thank you for your time and also wish you all the best in your pursuit of this success at BSB, the Isle of Man TT, and also in your personal life.
Thanks, Dave. You're a star, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
There we go. Alan Gardner, the team owner of OMG Racing, recently diagnosed with prostate cancer. And his message to all men, especially over the age of 40, just go and get yourself tested. As he said, 1 in 8 will get prostate cancer at some time in their life. And the message loud and clear there from Alan Gardner. Get yourself tested for prostate cancer.